Coming up today on RMU Live, we follow the latest devastation from Hurricane Irma.
We take a look at a tribute that RMU students made to the victims of 9/11.
And Heinz hired a new CFO. We get a chance to learn about him. All this and more coming up today on RMU Live. Welcome to RMU Live. Today is Monday, September 11, 2017. I'm Gage Golding.
And I'm Cassidy Walters. Here's what's happening now.
Following the devastation of Hurricane Harvey in Texas, Hurricane Irma is causing even more damage in Florida. Let's check in with Chief Weather Forecaster Morgan Nagel for the latest in Florida. Morgan?
Well, everyone knows of Hurricane Irma, but what exactly is it? The path of it started down in the Caribbean, and it made its way up north, and it started as a Category 5, and as it went up, it started to lose strength once it hit Cuba, but once it started to come up towards Florida, it came back as a Category 4 as soon as it hit Key West, and then as it made its way up to the Gulf Coast, it continued as a powerful hurricane, but it came down to a Category 3. And then once it hit Naples, it went to a Category 2. And then as it made its way up, the winds are still pretty strong, but as it's making its way up north, it is going towards the west, so the winds are starting to come down, but it's still technically a tropical storm. So they're starting to clean up all the damage that it has caused. And back to you guys.
Today we remember the lives of 2,978 Americans that innocently lost their lives 16 years ago. 19 hijackers that claimed allegiance to the Middle Eastern terrorism group Al-Qaeda took control of 3 planes that eventually crashed in New York City, Shanksville, Pennsylvania, and Washington, D.C. In a project led by RMU College Republicans, Robert Morris University paid tribute to the victims of the attacks on September 11, 2001 by covering the Nicholson front lawn with American flags. Our thoughts and prayers are with the family and friends of all the loved ones that were affected that day.
Award-winning author, motivational speaker, rower, and a partner with several community outreach organizations, Arshay Cooper, will be speaking at the Hopwood Hall on Thursday, September 14th at 7 p.m. for RMU's Diversity Speaker Series. For more information, contact the Office of Multicultural Student Services.
In preparation for the big RMU homecoming weekend, the Student Life and Student Board is hosting a Mochella concert. The concert is slated to take place this Friday, September 15th on the Nicholson front lawn. Jasmine Tate and Frank Vieira are scheduled to headline the concert.
Homecoming for RMU is this weekend, and alumni and students are getting ready for a fun-filled time. On Saturday, kickoff for RMU versus Virginia Military Institute will take place at 3 p.m. at Joe Walton Stadium. The homecoming dance will take place later that day at 9 p.m. and is supposed to be the last event at the Soul Center. Part of the Student Recreation and Fitness Center is set to open on September 18th, and on September 25th, the entire facility and all of the equipment can be used.
Students and parents might have noticed a slight change when arriving for move-in day. Over the summer, road crews were hard at work outside the entrance of campus, and I had a chance to take a deeper look into the construction on University Boulevard. As students were away this summer, Robert Morris University officials worked hand in hand with Moon Township Department of Public Works and the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation to work on University Boulevard right behind me, which serves as the main entrance to Robert Morris University. Over the summer, officials took part in a $1 million construction project which added 2 left-hand turning lanes in both directions here at University Boulevard.
Sure, this is something that we've been talking about doing for quite a long time. Anybody who's ever tried to make that left turn coming up University Boulevard from Coraopolis to Sewickley knows it can be pretty treacherous. So what we're doing with this project is that, working with PennDOT, we are adding a turning lane, left-hand turning lane there, and as well as dedicated turning signals.
The project consisted of mainly overnight construction and was completed by the time students arrived on campus for the fall semester.
It does. It does make the commute a lot easier. I think it should have been. Just people. I don't think it should have come from a college. And I don't think other classes or anything else should have been taken away from that.
Although Robert Morris University did pick up the nearly $1 million ticket price on this turning lane project, the whole airport corridor will see the effect in the improvement with the new turning lanes. Outside of Moon Plaza and Robert Morris University, Gage Golding, RMU Century Media. The construction was completed on time and did not affect students moving in this fall and is expected to ease the commute on the busy airport corridor. And for everything you need to know about RMU news, sports, and arts and entertainment, be sure to visit RMUcenturymedia.com. When we come back, Pittsburgh's plans to update traffic lights.
And a look at the body found in Moon Township when we come back.
Did you know parking over tall, dry grass can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
I spy something beginning with S.
Snow.
No.
Snow-covered trees.
Nothing to do with snow.
Head outside to discover incredible animals and beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure.
Wow.
So grab your loved ones.
Don't even.
And explore a world of possibilities.
Come on, this way.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you.
In case you didn't keep count, those 2 Jello shots and 5 beers that I had with Greg really cost me. I mean, my license, $400 in court costs, $350 in other fees. My parents won't let me go on spring break until I pay back all the money that they lent me. Plus, I had to spend a night in jail. I have no car, so my friends have to chauffeur me around everywhere, or else I have to frickin' walk. And I mean, how uncool is that to walk anywhere?
Extreme behaviors have extreme costs.
Welcome back to RMU Live. 3G Capital partner David Nompf, a 29-year-old Princeton graduate, will replace Paulo Basilio as Kraft Heinz Corporation's Chief Financial Officer starting in October. Kraft Heinz also said Basilio would become president of its U.S. business.
A 32-year-old Pittsburgh woman has been charged with attempted homicide, aggravated assault, and other related charges. The police report claims that Tanisha Fielder of Swissville stabbed her 8-year-old son and his father last Friday. According to a criminal complaint, Fielder told police that she stabbed the baby because God told her to do so, and that the baby was a devil baby. Pittsburgh police say that the child's father, Darwin Hanner, got into an argument with Fielder, which resulted in the stabbing.
At least 3 people were injured in a boating accident in the Allegheny River on Sunday. The accident took place around 2:30 p.m. and at least 1 person was transported to the hospital and 1 was flown via life flight to Allegheny General Hospital. Investigators confirmed details about the incident are still unknown.
Travelers near Robert Morris University might have the possibility of running into a DUI checkpoint this weekend. Police forces from Moon Township, Coriopolis, Robinson, and Swickley are only a handful of the 15 departments that are taking part in the program this weekend. Authorities are not required to release the specific locations of checkpoints prior to enforcement, but always encourage people to have a designated driver or use a taxi or ride-sharing service. Police have released the identity of a dead body that was found at the Montour Heights Country Club in Moon Township. Authorities identify the body as 50-year-old Roy Sanders of Coriopolis. Sanders has been missing since Monday when his family last saw him. Investigators believe this case is related to a vehicle that drove on the golf course Tuesday following a hit-and-run accident on Coriopolis Heights Road.
For the 8th year in a row, Noah's Ark Funhouse at Kennywood won the Best Funhouse Walkthrough Attraction Golden Ticket Award by Amusement Today magazine. Additionally, Kennywood's Merry-Go-Round was named a finalist for Best Carousel, and both Phantom Fright Nights and Holiday Lights made the list for Best Halloween and Christmas events.
A Roman Catholic diocese in Pennsylvania has reached a settlement with the woman that filed a federal lawsuit. A priest with the Diocese of Erie was accused of forcing a woman to resign after a priest improperly touched himself during a meeting. The conditions of the resolution are confidential, but due to the nature of the case, but the priest will refrain from public ministry until further notice.
Pittsburgh is ready to make a push to join dozens of cities across the country in competing for an economic development prize. The prize being the location for a second Amazon headquarters, promising 50,000 high-paying jobs and up to $5 billion in investment. Amazon has set an October 19th deadline for proposals and plans to select a site next year. Pittsburgh expects to install traffic signals at 10 downtown intersections over the next 2 years. It is a part of a modernization effort since many of the signals are around 50 years old. Most of the work won't interfere with traffic because it will be done on the side of the road or overnight, and the final phase of signal replacements is scheduled to begin in 2020.
Around 10:30 p.m. Saturday night, Pittsburgh police were called to the 500 block of Oakwood Street in Pittsburgh's East Hills neighborhood. Authorities reported that a 31-year-old man was shot 2 times in the right leg when they arrived. Police report that the investigation is still ongoing and no information about the shooter is available. When we come back, we'll take a look at Hurricane Irma's impact on Pittsburgh.
And a case of child abuse in an orphanage when we come back.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that! That's disgusting! Oh, poop already! You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
Well, Thomas, you've got pre-diabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have pre-diabetes. Big time.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Her final exam started 10 minutes ago. She'll wake up hungover.
and won't remember what happened last night. Extreme behaviors have extreme costs.
Welcome back to RMU Live. President Donald Trump was at the Pentagon earlier today to remember the lives that were lost in the attacks of September 11, 2001. The president called the event extraordinary and said, quote, "Our values will endure. Our people will thrive," end quote. Vice President Mike Pence was in Shanksville, Pennsylvania for the ceremonies remembering the lives of those on board Flight 93.
Experts believe that Pittsburgh is expected to receive heavy rainfall and high winds because of Hurricane Irma. Duquesne Light employees are also heading to Florida, where millions have already lost power because of the hurricane, to help with power outages. It is not clear how long the Duquesne Light crews will be helping out, but they are willing to do their share. Let's take a look at this week's weather with Morgan Nagel.
You're good, Ryan.
Hurricane Irma is still making her path up north, and she will continue to be doing it for the rest of the week. With her strong winds that will be decreasing as the week goes on, but she is still a tropical storm, so her winds are still disastrous. And today's weather is 68 degrees, so it's pretty nice outside. The wind isn't high at all, so it's a pretty beautiful day out. And we'll continue seeing this until Irma comes on between Tuesday and Thursday. The wrath of Irma will be coming, and but the temperatures will be staying pretty subtle between the 70s and 80s, and the lows are also staying settle between the high 50s and the low 60s.
Officials in Scotland are investigating a case of child abuse in an orphanage once ran by Catholic nuns. The Cilium Park Orphanage in Lanark, Scotland is under fire for allegedly burying 400 bodies in a mass unmarked grave. The recent looks into the operations of the orphanage came to surface after a high infant mortality rate during the years of operation of 1864 to 1981. Reports claim that about a third of the remains are under 5 years old.
An 11-year-old boy, Billy Caldwell, who was dying from severe epilepsy, has not had any seizures for 300 days since being prescribed cannabis oil, a medical marijuana product. Billy used to suffer up to 100 seizures a day, but has not had a single one since beginning the treatment. Caldwell is the first person to receive a prescription for medical marijuana in the United Kingdom. Portland police arrested 7 people on Sunday, stemming from a march and rally throughout the city. Hundreds of people came to the rally to oppose a demonstration by the conservative Patriot Prayer Group. Police responded to the violent protesters with pepper spray and warnings that the crowd would be arrested if they didn't leave. 2 police officers suffered minor injuries, and those arrested faced charges.
Stephen Bannon, Trump's former White House and top campaign strategist, spoke on yesterday's 60 Minutes about Trump's firing of FBI Director James Comey. Interviewer Charlie Rose asked Bannon if the firing of Comey was the biggest mistake in political history. Bannon replied that it might not be the biggest mistake in all of history, but might be the biggest in modern political history. Bannon admitting this should not be taken lightly because he is one of Trump's top supporters. When we come back, we'll look at the Pittsburgh Steelers game this past weekend.
And RMU's big win. We'll be right back.
Did you know parking over tall, dry grass can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
I spy something beginning with S.
Snow.
No.
Snow-covered trees.
Nothing to do with snow.
Head outside to discover incredible animals and beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure.
Wow.
So grab your loved ones.
Don't even.
And explore a world of possibilities.
Come on, this way.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you.
In case you didn't keep count, those 2 Jello shots and 5 beers that I had with Greg really cost me. I mean, my license, $400 in court costs, $350 in other fees. My parents won't let me go on spring break until I pay back all the money that they lent me. Plus, I had to spend a night in jail. I have no car, so my friends have to chauffeur me around everywhere, or else I have to frickin' walk. And I mean, how uncool is that to walk anywhere?
Extreme behaviors have extreme costs.
Although the Pittsburgh Steelers were in Cleveland this weekend, I had the opportunity to talk with fans that came out to the North Shore and get predictions on what they think the Steelers season will be like this year. We're here at Heinz Field, home of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and as you can see behind me, the gates are locked and not much is going on. The Steelers traveled to Cleveland to take on the Browns in the first week of the National Football League regular season, and they recorded a key divisional win against an arch rival. Although the Steelers were out of town, that did not stop Steeler Nation from gathering outside Heinz Field on the North Shore as fans gathered together to watch the game on the boat docks as well as at various restaurants and bars on the North Shore.
I just have to say that Friday morning was one of my happiest mornings that the Patriots lost. But so I'm just gonna go there first. But yeah, I feel good about our team this year.
Predictions of the year, definitely gonna go over 500 this year. I'm gonna say at least 12 games, and gonna get the playoffs, hit it hard, and get that last Super Bowl ring for Ben before he retires.
The Steelers capped the Browns 21-18 in Cleveland, courtesy of Ben Roethlisberger and his 2 touchdown passes. Ben Roethlisberger completed 24 of his 36 attempts for 263 yards. The target this weekend for Roethlisberger was big tight end Jesse James, who caught both of Roethlisberger's touchdown passes. James also had 6 receptions for 41 yards. Antonio Brown also helped the Steelers offense with 11 receptions and 182 yards. After picking up a win yesterday in Cleveland against the Browns 21-18, the Steelers will be back here at Heinz Field, home in Pittsburgh, to host the Minnesota Vikings next weekend. Reporting from Heinz Field on the North Shore, Gage Goulding, RMU Century Media. The Steelers had a penalty-riddled game in Cleveland. Logan, hopefully they can clean up their act a little this week whenever they host Minnesota at Heinz Field. What do you think?
You know, Gage, I agree with you completely. 144 yards when you're playing a young team like Cleveland, you have more penalties. It's just a little bit ridiculous. But now we're going to get into the whole sports world. And we're going to start with the game that was alluded to. The Pittsburgh Steelers defeated the Cleveland Browns in a close 21-18 matchup at First Energy Stadium yesterday. At the beginning of the game, the Browns played a touching tribute to former Steelers owner Dan Rooney, who passed away this past summer. Speaking of owners, Ben Roethlisberger has proven that he owns the Browns, as he now holds the record for most wins by a quarterback in Cleveland since the Browns became a franchise again in 1999. That record used to be owned by Derek Anderson. However, he wasn't the main reason the team won yesterday, as rookie linebacker T.J. Watt put up a 2-sack and 1 interception performance that his brother, Texans star J.J. Watt, has yet to replicate in the NFL. Self-proclaimed $17 million man, Le'Veon Bell, had a game to forget in his first game of the year after holding out all preseason for a new contract. Bell had 32 yards rushing on 10 carries and 15 receiving yards. That total of 47 yards is only a mere 110 yards less than his average of last season. Not to be outdone, there was a more disappointing statistic that Gage alluded to from yesterday's game, and that was the penalties. The Steelers had 13 penalties for a loss of 144 yards. That is compared to the young Browns having just 4 penalties for a loss of 60 yards. Penalties are something that have always plagued Tomlin Steelers. Last year, his team finished 8th in the league in penalties. One could only hope the team improves in that area as the season goes on. The return of Sunday football meant the return of anthem protests. Players from across the league kneeled in protest of both police brutality and in support of Colin Kaepernick, who remains a free agent to this day. The most significant of those being Marshawn Lynch of the Oakland Raiders and Michael Bennett of the Seattle Seahawks. Lynch has sat for the anthem his entire career, but hasn't given a reason why, while Bennett sat in response to his public claim of police brutality in Las Vegas after the big money fight of Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather. The Cleveland Browns, who were under fire for praying during the anthem in the preseason. The Browns felt that was misinterpreted, so they invited first responders as well as the military to join them on the field. Staying with football, we moved to college, where your Colonials currently sit 1-1 on the year. The team is coming off a 30-0 loss to FCS runner-up Youngstown State. This Saturday will be homecoming, and your Robert Morris Colonials will be taking on the Virginia Military Institute at 3 p.m. Be sure to head down and root on your Colonials as they look to improve to 2-1 on the year. Sticking with college football, our neighbors in Oakland took on our neighbors in State College this past weekend. It was the second game since the renewal of the rivalry. Penn State defeated Pittsburgh by a score of 33-14. Penn State head coach James Franklin said after the game, "Last year for them it was like the Super Bowl, but this year it was like beating Akron." Fans of the rivalry are upset over what Vanderbilt Franklin said, as it appears he cares little about the meaning of that game as a whole. Not to mention, last year's Super Bowl, they did beat Clemson, who ended up winning the national title game. And that is one of the best rivalry games in sports. The rivalry took a 16-year hiatus before it was renewed last year. Penn State leads the over record 51-43 with 4 ties. Yesterday marked the end of the U.S. Open. Rafael Nadal won his 16th Grand Slam and 74th tournament after defeating Kevin Anderson. For the women's singles, Sloane Stephens upset number 15 Madison Keys. It was the first time in 17 years that a Williams sister was not in the championship for the U.S. Open. Sloane Stephens won her first Grand Slam of her career. This was after an 11-month break from the sport following the Olympics. She is also still recovering from a surgery that she had on January 23rd. That's all that happened in the sports world. Now I'm going to send it back to Gage and Cassidy on the news desk.
Thank you, Logan. RMU-TV recently received 4 Mid-Atlantic Emmy nominations. That was announced at a nomination party at WQED-TV Studios in Pittsburgh in August. 22 students and 1 faculty member attended the awards event in Hershey, Pennsylvania. And Cassidy, tell us, were the results good?
Yeah, they were. They definitely were. We won the College University Student Production Award for Colonial Sports Network, RMU Men's Basketball versus Bryan in the Sports Live event category. Congrats to all RMU-TV students involved in the win.
Okay, so let's recap. Obviously this weekend, 2 big storms that came in, Irma and Harvey, wreaking a lot of devastation in the South. They're even saying there could be some effect here in the Pittsburgh area. Last time was Ivan, and that brought all kind of debris and boats down from docks upstream down to the point. I mean, that's just crazy. What do you think?
Yeah, we can only hope that it's not going to leave all the damage behind that scientists are predicting, and we can only hope for the best.
Absolutely. Sending our thoughts and prayers to everybody affected in Florida and Texas and Georgia, all the southern states. And obviously today, September 11th, that's a big day. Unfortunately kind of too young to remember where we're at there, but it's just, and being Shanksville's only pretty close, so it kind of hits home. What do you think?
Definitely hits home.
Have you ever been to the memorial in New York?
I have not, but it's definitely something I want to check out.
Absolutely, yeah, it was a good time. Hey, that's all we have for RMU Live this afternoon.
We will see you next week.